Hey guys, it's Jim Nix with Nomadic Pursuits, and I'm back with another video in my series known as Making the Photograph, where I walk you through my processing steps for a different image. Today I'm going to walk you through a set of brackets I shot in New Mexico. This is a little group of lakes known as Fawn Lakes. This is one of the three images that I took. As you can see, I had some nice clouds, but there was a really horrible green, kind of yellow, sort of toxic swamp kind of look to the water. I'll take you through what I do to this group of images in Aurora and how I fix all the things that I need to fix in the image and how I create it. So let me walk you through that now. And if I pause to cough, I apologize. I've been suffering from a sore throat and a cough for about a week, and I'm about over it, but man, it's been painful. So here we go. Okay, this is Aurora. I'm in the magic shop, as I like to say. This is Aurora, my favorite place to go do magic. And this is the base HDR after the three exposures were merged. And the first thing I usually do is go and grab a preset. So I'm going to grab Realistic Neutral. It's right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to the base layer completely. Here we go. So there it is. Let me show you where we started. There it is. And so this brought out some details in the trees and the water and the sky. I kind of like the look of that, so I'm going to start there, but I'm going to go ahead and immediately just add another preset. This one is the Realistic Dreamy preset, which is really one of my favorites. I love this preset. I just think it's cool, to be honest. It's just fun. So let me get that on there, but I'm not going to apply that to the whole image like I did the first one. So I'm going to come in here. I get my brush just right. That's close enough. And I'm going to mask it in just to the tree line and the ground over here, the grass on the ground, I should say. Let me hit the right key. If you use your left and right bracket keys, you can adjust the size of this brush, and that's what I was just doing. So I'm going to do this kind of rough because it's just a video. In real life, I'd probably spend a little bit more time getting this to my liking, but for now, it's fine. So let me walk you through this. A little bit overdone there. Let me erase a little bit of that around the grasses. A little too yellow. There we go. Okay, here we go. I think we're just about good. So, and you can spend more time when you're doing this yourself to get it accurate. But I just wanted to get that across the tree line and the grass here. So. I think already we're getting better, although, you know, that water is a mess. It actually was fairly yellow and green because of the rains that were coming through at the time, but we got to get rid of it. I don't like it. So here we go. Let me add another layer, and I'm just going to call this Water and Sky. And this time, instead of doing a preset, I'm going to make some individual adjustments. So the first one I'm going to do is go in this color toning menu. Color toning, which is also known as split toning, is super powerful and frankly super awesome. It's a tool that I use all the time, absolutely all the time. It's just fabulous. I use it in Lightroom on some images. I use it here in Aurora on a lot of images. It's great. And what it does, it allows you to change the color tones and saturation levels of the highlights and the shadows, but independent of each other. So I love that idea. And so I'm going to grab this one, which is the second little split toning preset. If you look at that, it's already made a significant change to the color of the water. Let me show you where we were. It was toxic swamp, and now it's a bit calmer. It's still not beautiful, but we're getting there. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to go into the color filter menu, and I think I'll take the saturation of the yellow down a little bit. There we go. That makes it quite a bit better, right? A little bit more realistic in terms of what the water looks like. And the last thing I want to do is add some denoise. And by the way, what I'm doing right now in these adjustments, it applies to the entire image, but I'm going to go apply it to, selectively here in just a minute. So let me bump up the denoise and the smooth a little bit. Maybe something like that. But I'm going to go mask this in with my brush. All right, I'm in the brush mode, and I'm going to do this just in the sky and the water. So let me walk you through that. Now, don't worry about the crazy blue that's going into the sky. We're gonna change that as well here in a few moments. But first, I just want to get this noise reduction and this split toning and stuff done across the water, excuse me, in the sky. So let me do that. Let me just kind of paint around here a little bit and get all this stuff covered. Like I said, it's a little too blue, but that's okay. We're gonna make some adjustments to that here in a few minutes, or just a couple minutes, really. So there we go. There's the mask. I usually like to go in and turn on the mask and check. And what I think of what I'll do is the left bracket key, I'll drop the size of it and maybe come in a little bit closer. And again, this is kind of rough. Here's the eraser. Only because I'm doing this in a video, so I'm moving a little bit quicker and a little less attention to detail than I would if I was processing this image for print or for a customer or just to put on my blog or whatever. So let me kind of walk through that. There we go. That's pretty close. I'm going to touch this water actually a little bit more because that's going to come through. So there we go. We'll just, tell you what. Yeah, it's tough when you're a perfectionist to just kind of let it go. Anyway, excuse me. Let me turn the mask off. There you can see what we've done. One more time, the mask. There it is. Okay, so we have changed quite a few things. Let me turn this layer off just so you can see what we did. There's the original. And now with the water and sky, we did some split toning. We did some saturation changes to the yellow, and then we added denoise to smooth out the water in the sky. And I think it's looking a whole lot better already. Let me show you the original. There it is. Okay, but I'm not done. So the next layer, I'm just going to do some miscellaneous sort of changes. So I'll just call that miscellaneous. And the first thing I'm going to do is go into the tone. I'm going to change the contrast. I'm going to bump that up a little bit. You know, give it a little bit more of a contrast. And I think I want to take the highlights down a little bit. It was a kind of a dark and cloudy day. I love clouds like that, by the way. I call them HDR clouds because they're kind of fun to play with, and they're moody and dramatic, and sometimes you just want to sort of push the sliders a little bit and get some crazy clouds. It's fun. We all do it. The other thing I'm going to do is go into the color menu, and it's a little too saturated for my taste, believe it or not. I do like big color, so I'm going to take the saturation down a little bit, and I think I'm going to take the vibrance down a little bit as well. So let me do that. That's a little less saturated, a little bit more to my taste. And at the same time, I'm going to take the temperature and tint, and I'm going to move those a little bit. Let me just bump that a little bit. And personally, I'm a huge, well, that's a little too much. That's a little bit better, maybe a 3. I love the tint and the temperature slider. And in fact, many times I'll play them, the temp and the tint, I'll play those off against the split toning to adjust the colors and get them looking just how I want. All right, excuse me, got to keep drinking. So that is that. The next thing I'll do is go into the color filter menu. And if you notice, there's no masking on this layer. I'm not using the brush. I'm doing these changes globally across the entire image. So I'm going to change the saturation of the blue just a little bit. Still a little too blue in the sky. And I'm going to take that down a little bit. So that's about that. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is play with the top and bottom lighting. The scene was pretty dark and dramatic. So I'm going to change the top lighting just a little bit and reduce that. Drag it down just a little bit to the left. You know, maybe a 15 or 20, something like that. It was, as I said, a dramatic, stormy day. In fact, it started raining on me while I was shooting this. I wanted to communicate some of that in the image. So let me turn that off. You can see how it was a little bit brighter. Now it's a little bit darker. And we did some changes in the tone as well, if you remember, to the highlights, which helps sort of darken the sky as well. It's a lot of highlights in the sky. So that takes me pretty much to where I want to go with the image. If you look at the original, it was obviously very bright, which is okay, and it's very flat, which is also okay. Whenever I'm creating an HDR, I like the base HDR to be fairly flat and somewhat bright, not too bright, but you know, reasonably bright. But with all the changes, you can see that I've converted it to a much more dramatic and sort of moody image, which very much matched the weather that day at the lake. The only other thing I would do is go into Snap Heal, which is a great app by Fawn that allows you to erase unwanted objects. And what I would do is I would go in there and I would remove these people. And by the way, don't forget their reflections, right? So I would probably go get that person, and that person, and get them out of here. The way to get to Snap Heal when you're in Aurora, and by the way, I'm running this as a standalone. You can also do it as a plugin. But if you're using it as a plugin, you'll go back to your host program first, and then you can go to Snap Heal from there. But as a standalone, you just hit this forward arrow, and you come down here, and you can pick any of your Fawn products if you have them all, which I do, and I love them. But I would use Snap Heal. Click that. It'll take me to Snap Heal, and then I just go paint over the stuff I want to get rid of and hit erase. It works like a dream. It's a beautiful product. I'm going to spare you having to go through that here because it'll take a moment. and I don't want to waste your time. I've got a video a couple of weeks ago of Snap Heal that if you want to have a look at it, have a look. And if you have any questions, let me know. Let me show you one more time. Original base HDR, and there's the final edit, although not completely final, I guess, because I didn't remove the people, but that's what the photo would look like. Once more, original and final. And the big thing was really this water and sky layer because of the split toning, also known as color toning, which is down here, and the temp and tint changes that we made. I think that just made a big impact on getting rid of that toxic swamp, that yellow kind of muck, and making it look a lot more natural. So that was it. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day. Thanks.